And welcome back. I'm John Evans along with Justin Smith in the WECT studios. Justin, last week we looked back at what we've covered for the past 12 months in 2013. Now it's time to look ahead a little bit toward 2014, which promises to be maybe as interesting in North Carolina as 2013 has been.
Absolutely, but I think in a very different way. You know, 2013 was all about governing. You know, it was the work of laws being made in Raleigh. I think 2014 is going to be all about campaigning and elections. And some of these big national organizations that come out with these races to watch, voters in southeastern North Carolina are going to have as many competitive races as anybody in the country when you look up and down the ballot.
Yeah, but the one thing when you spoke about governing, and we talked a lot last week about the General Assembly, the Republicans taking control, one of the things that both of us agree on is that the biggest priority, wanting to know if Governor McCrory pushes a teacher pay initiative early enough to get taken up in Raleigh, but one of the biggest projects on the minds of folks down here is going to be film incentives in 2014.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a tax credit that is set to expire at the end of 2014 unless lawmakers take action. And you know, many of our local representatives support that, even on both sides of the aisle. The thought is that it's probably going to be a tougher sell with some Republicans, especially from other parts of the state, that may not have as much direct benefit from the film industry. The city of Wilmington recently came out with their legislative priorities for next year. Film incentives, of course, is on the top of that list, and there are lobbyists engaged both for the city and for the film industry who are going to be beating the halls, walking the halls in Raleigh.
One of the things I think to watch along, and you mentioned even some of the Republicans who are not necessarily favors of or favor incentives, Tom Goolsbee, maybe some of those others, realize what it has done for New Hanover County. I think one of the interesting things to watch will be somebody like a Bob Rucho of Mecklenburg County. He even earlier this year came out and kind of trumpeted the let's change incentives banner. Yet Mecklenburg County, when you look at filming in North Carolina, is one of the top 2 or 3 along with New Hanover County.
That's right, and I think in 2014 we're going to start seeing a lot of data about the film industry, people trying to actually quantify what that economic impact is, because we all know the anecdotal stories. If you drive around downtown Wilmington in the historic area, you know, you see those trailers, you know activity is going on there, but I think those lawmakers, in order to support extending the incentives, they're going to want to see that hard data.
Speaking of lawmakers, 2 major races. I think we'll see all races for you know, the State House and State Senate will play out as well. But the 2 major races I think in 2014 are going to be watching is the Mike McIntyre race for the 7th District Congressional race, because you know, he won by 700 votes in 2012 in a state you know, that Mitt Romney carried. So he's already got a supposed challenger in the primary, Jonathan Barfield from New Hanover County. And then David Rouser's already said he's ready to run again. So how does that shape up in your mind?
Well, you know, like you say, he barely squeaked it out over Rouser last year. Now Rouser's going to have 2 more years to work on name recognition, because the thing is, you know, Rouser's from Johnston County. Many people in the Wilmington area, you know, had no idea he was having to start from scratch in the previous cycle. His name recognition is already there. Of course, you know, the way that the district is drawn now is pretty challenging for a Democrat, regardless of who it is.
There were millions spent by the outside groups. Mr. McIntyre and Mr. Rouser both spent an awful lot of money, more than $1 million in McIntyre's case. But I expect this to be a high-profile, high-spending race. And depending on what kind of a challenge McIntyre gets in the primary from Barfield, really could, you know, eat into some of his money when it comes to the general election.
Yeah, and the thing to keep in mind there too is, with the way that the district is now drawn and it goes up towards the triangle, these candidates have to buy television not only in Wilmington, but in the Raleigh market, which is much more expensive and just takes a lot of the campaign account.
And I think that the biggest race we'll see, because we've already seen more than $7 million spent already by the outside groups, is in the Senate race in North Carolina, the Kay Hagan seat.
Yeah, and when we talk about name recognition there, I think that that is clearly one of the biggest advantages that Hagan has, because there's been some polling about some of the likely Republican challengers, and by and large, people in North Carolina just don't know who they are. Even Tom Tillis, who is the Speaker of the State House.
Yeah, that doesn't bode well when he is only 1 or 2 points ahead of a Greg Brannon or a Bill Flynn or a Heather Grant in those name recognition polls. He's been the House Speaker, a high-profile House Speaker for the past year and a half, and you'd think he would do a little bit better even within his own party as far as name recognition is concerned.
Yeah, that's right. And so, we've talked about U.S. Senate, Congress, State Senate. Again, some polling from a left-leaning group showed that Senator Tom Goolsbee here in Wilmington could be vulnerable. Several high-profile Democrats have lined up saying that they are interested. Julia Bozeman, who previously served in the General Assembly, says she is running. And again, there are some others who have expressed some interest. That's going to be an interesting one to watch, because Senator Goolsbee rarely bites his tongue.
That's right.
And so no matter who his ultimate general election challenger is, it's probably going to be an aggressive campaign.
And the primary there could be aggressive as well, because depending on who runs, Deb Butler in 2012 was very aggressive with her campaigning. So you wonder whether the aggressive campaigns will begin in the primary in that race. And for some of the other ones as well, not nearly as high profile as the Goolsbee race, but you'll have others who are running for re-election as well. But I consider the Goolsbee one to probably be the most high-profile local race anyway for the state, on the state side in 2014.
Yeah, no doubt about that. We do know that Representative Ken Waddell, who represents Columbus and parts of Bladen County and Robeson, he's going to have a challenger, Brendan Jones, a Republican from Tabor City. So that'll be one to watch.
Well, we have a lot to cover in 2014. Justin and I will be kind of leading that coverage here at WECT, so we hope you will join us as we play the political game with all the candidates in 2014. For Justin Smith, I'm John Evans. Thanks for watching.